Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
I'm Will Leggetter.
And today we're continuing our 1973 horror season, fortnight, week, whatever you will have it, with Nicolas Roeg's seminal horror classic, Don't Look Now.
They say seeing is believing, but only a split second of time separates the past from the future. The present is crushed between them. A thin thread of life in a skein of death.
Laura! Laura!
Based from the Daphne Du Maurier short story, starring Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland as they deal with grief, the grief of their recently deceased daughter Christine in Venice as he, what's the word? Restores, that's the word.
That's
restores.
it. I should have known that.
Yes, that's why I was asking you. As he restores an old Venetian church.
Where are you? Who are you looking at? I don't know what's happening.
You are warned. Things are not what they seem. Don't look now.
What is it, Mr. Baxter? What is it you fear?
Find him. Warning! You must find him. You must warn him back. It was a warning. It was Christine. She was trying to warn us. Your life is in danger while you're in Venice.
What is it you fear?
Christine is dead. She is dead.
Now, we will get to this later when we discuss where you sit now after watching all of the films, where you sit in the 1973 rankings. But for now, Will, this was a virgin watch. What did you think of Don't Look Now?
Very, very different. Very different.
Two?
And that's not in a bad way. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's very different, very different." No,
Sets
I
were good.
It was very passionate sexy.
Yes, it was.
This,
no, I said the
it was.
sets were good.
All right.
It's a joke about what people say when everything else is bad.
The
But
costumes.
yes, no, that is good.
You know,
we will get to it.
I'm sure we will. No, it's a very, very good film. It's I don't know what to say. I've not seen Donald Sutherland like this. I haven't seen many Donald films except for the Hunger Games movies.
Yes, which are getting a prequel. Have you heard about this?
Oh, they're not, are they? I mean, there's a book's come out already, hasn't it?
President Snow specific prequel. I don't know.
That's all right.
They're not, but no, because they're not Irishmen.
No?
It's young. It's a young kid. And they're not Irishmaning Donald Sutherland.
So it's not Donald's?
No.
Oh.
Because I'd be very happy.
3 Donald movies where he's just slowly rising to a tyrannical reign.
The Godfather with Donald Sutherland as President Snow. Well, yes, I think I remember watching the second Hunger Games movie and thinking that was really good, actually.
I think the second one is my favourite.
Yeah, and then watching the third movie and thinking this is one of the worst films I've ever seen. And then watching the fourth movie, the part 2, and going, this is similarly terrible. The first one was very deflating. I'm a big Battle Royale fan. I know that that's the cool thing to say when people say, I don't like the Hunger Games, but it's true. The thing that Hunger Games is missing is people being, little children being beheaded, and Battle Royale gives you that and gave you it first. And it's just funnier, better action, just a far better made film. I very much enjoy Battle Royale.
Add it to the list.
Yeah, but this movie, have you seen Battle Royale?
No.
It's very good, very good. It's basically the same. It's the exact same thing. It's a futuristic Asian world where the kids have just gone far too rebellious, and all kids are just terrible people, and so they implement Battle Royale, where randomly once a year a class gets taken to an island and they just have to kill one another. And by the end of it, if more than one of them is dead by the end of the, I think it's 5-day timer, then they all their chips just blow up and all their heads blow up. Very good movie. I very much like Battle Royale. The ending sort of, we'll get to it, but Don't Look Now. I greatly adore this film. I think. I don't know. This rewatch really revitalized in me a love for this film. I built this up an awful lot before I first watched it, because the DVD was extortionate, so I was never going to buy it. It was like it was very much out of print and an odd one to find. So, but eventually they came out with this beautiful Blu-ray, and I bought it, and I was very excited because it had been bigged up by everybody. I read a lot of film criticism, I watch a lot of film criticism, and there wasn't, everybody loves Don't Look Now, it's classic. And I watch it, and I go, oh yeah, no, that lives up to it. It was one of those great refreshing moments where the masterpiece does live up to what you've been told that it is. Whereas with The Citizen Kane, the first time that's the biggest big up of all time. It is the greatest movie of all time, supposedly. Whereas my love for Citizen Kane came with a few more watches. It wasn't as instantaneous. Well, let's Opening Line Hall of Fame. It depends which way you want to do it. You could either do What Are You Reading, or Action Man, Call to Arms.
Which is a very, I didn't get that. Is that actually her speaking? Because it sounded very, like, distorted.
No, it's the Action Man.
Oh, is the...
You thought that was Christine? You thought that Christine had the voice of a 40-year-old woman?
Distorted.
This is this is a worse take than when somebody watched Boogie Nights and they were like clearly watching it on their phone, and they thought that Roller Girl was the daughter of Jack, and so there was the sex scene where Jack's like, "Yeah, go have sex," and she thought it was really weird that dad watched his daughter have sex. I was like, it's not his dad. Do you really think I'd recommend an incest movie? Unless it was good. And Boogie Nights is good, but Boogie Nights is not an incest movie. Let's do some YouTube comments. Nicolas Roeg was a genius. One of my favourite movies of all time. I have to agree, Nicolas Roeg was a genius. Have you seen any other Nicolas Roeg films? Well, have you seen The Man Who Fell to Earth?
No.
The David Bowie alien movie.
No.
I know one you have seen, The Witches.
I do love The Witches, which is Spielberg's doing again, isn't he?
Zemeckis, I thought it was.
Oh, of course, and of course it is Zemeckis. Like, that's a very Zemeckis.
Because we had a long conversation about how if he does it in his weird CGI, it won't be as affecting as.
Do you think he's going to be doing it?
Of course, he's going to be doing it that way. He doesn't do.
Is he?
He will definitely do it CGI'd.
Oh no, I think he's going to do it Oh, no,
No,
no.
because he's not.
Robert.
Zemeckis isn't known for that. He's a pioneer of CGI, isn't he? Beowulf, Polar Express, Christmas Carol, Welcome to Marwin, that big flop. Yeah.
That was a strange one. Yeah. No, I hope he does. He does a real live action one.
Wouldn't get your hopes up. I hope I'm wrong, Will, but I don't think I am. But yeah, no, Don't Look Now, which I think actually makes, when you look at it through that lens, The Witches being so horrifying makes a bit more sense. When you, it's obviously a weird thing for us as kids to watch The Witches and then have Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie have simulated sex about 10 minutes after Donald Sutherland carries his dead child. And you go, is this the Witches guy? And suddenly it all makes sense. He also directed the movie Performance with Mick Jagger, which is one of Mick Jagger's only screen, well, he's been in a few films, but one of his screen appearances, which I've never been a big fan of. It's a bit too acidy, bit too 60s psychedelica for me. I actually prefer the first part of Performance. Basically, it's like a London gangster who ends up in like Mick Jagger's sexy 60s acid house. And I like the 20-minute gangster opening. And then when the 60s psychedelica starts up, I sort of lose a bit. Man Who Fell to Earth is obviously another classic of its genre. Obviously, Bowie is exceptional. In the days when you got 2 films for one, this took main billing over The Wicker Man, as we talked about on the Wicker Man episode.
Hey! Laura!
What on earth was that, John? It was Christine.
Christine is dead, Laura.
You're sad. You're so sad, and there's no need to be. I've seen her. My sister's psychic.
You can't contact people, can you? She's trying to get in touch with us. She's trying to warn us.
Still holds up well 46 years later. 46 years.
46 years. Wow, that's nearly 47 years.
That's neat. I see Donald Sutherland and I thumbs up. It's die-hard Donald fan. I absolutely love this film. Julie Christie is so beautiful and perfect in her role, and Sutherland and the other leads match her scene for scene. Unbelievable cinematography and editing as well. One of the best films in the entire horror canon. I have to agree. What a lovely summation. That's either one, here we go. That's either one sharp-ass knife or one strong-ass midget. And that's from...
And that's the tagline for the film.
I was trying to find a GIF. Did you, I presume you didn't know about the dwarf?
Yeah, I knew about the dwarf.
You knew?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wanted the conversation of, oh, I didn't realise you knew about the dwarf. I'm really disheartened.
Sorry, my dad loves this film.
Oh.
So it's
because I wanted to have the conversation of, is the dwarf reveal funny?
Well, we can still have that conversation.
I showed it to my ex, and she just started laughing. And I said, "No, it's horrifying." She goes, "No, it's not. It's funny." Like, it's yeah. Well, we'll get to it. I'm still haunted by the image of Sutherland's ginger pubes in this film. Didn't know where that was going. All the hairs on my leg and back went up with this. I don't think I've ever been so unsettled in my life. It is rather unsettling motion picture. Okay then. So, Tom's. Sorry, 10-minute stretch. Well, why don't you kick us off?
Oh, get me notes up. So I've got 3 contenders.
Okay. Yeah.
We've got the opening.
Yeah.
With the whole.
I think we.
Yeah.
I hope we have the same 3.
Oh, well, so we got the opening.
Correct.
We've got him following around the dwarf.
Into the ending?
Stalking her. Into the,
Into the death, into the killing.
Into the killing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I've got opening and end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And the funeral boat parade.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, I had final which gondola? When he sees the funeral gondola on the boat and he's like, Laura! Or the final gondola at the end?
That's what I meant. The funeral boat.
No, I know, but you see it twice, don't you? He sees it as a vision.
Ah, yeah.
Because I have
and
both of those. I have both of those in a single minute. My 5 nominations. We'll just go through the nominations and then we'll break them down. My 5 nominations for 10-minute stretch. Well, no, I have 3 firm, and then I have 2. I'll do my 2 honourable mentions. The restaurant. She's smiling. I can see her, and she's smiling. Julie just having a breakdown of fainting. And then suddenly coming out of that hospital, and she's got a new lease of life to her, and it's rather haunting. Or the church accident, that terrifying,
with the whole dropping of
incredibly done. Right, let's break down these 2 honourable mentions, and then we'll get to our 3 firm ones. So the church accident. It's one of those stories where you hear that there was Donald Sutherland was close to dying, and you go, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. It looks like he's going to die. I love the tension. I love the slow building with that weird editing that you see all throughout the film. And then he's got the mosaic, and then that plank through the glass. Well, it's that trick. It's that trick because you see it fall, and then it sort of delays by 5 seconds, and you cut with that weird editing. You cut to a shot 5 seconds earlier, and then you see it fall again. So you expect the next. Oh, it's very, very unsettling and brilliant. Did you just know about the dwarf reveal, or did you know all of the other little intricacies?
I didn't know that. Yeah, all I knew was that it was a killer dwarf. They were like, because I knew that was like, you've got Exorcist, it's a demon girl. Halloween, it's that. Don't Look Now is a I was saying demon dwarf. That would be interesting. Now that's Leprechaun with Warwick Davis and
yes.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yes, Jennifer's first film. Yes.
Yeah.
Whose first film was Return of the Killer Tomatoes?
Oh, Ed Norton.
George Clooney.
Don't Look Now was based on a short novel by Daphne Du Maurier, who also wrote the story that Hitchcock turned into Rebecca.
The director, Nicolas Roeg, was not somebody who was known for thrillers. He was a cinematographer turned director with a very, very fine visual eye. For a great deal of its running time, it's very much a psychological story about 2 people love each other very much, but their marriage has really been shaken by the death of their child. And they go to Venice.
It's what Hitchcock always used to do, of picking the location and then thinking about things.
The husband, Donald Sutherland character, catches glimpses of someone who looks like his dead daughter, wearing a red raincoat. At the same time, there's a killer on the loose in the city.
Donald Sutherland finds himself in a room, in a cavernous room, with somebody standing in a red Macintosh, apparently weeping in the corner
facing that character and not sure what's going to happen. You find it in films ranging from Blair Witch Project, where you get it at the very end, to The Sentinel, to Dario Argento's Phenomena, to Psycho.
He backs her into a corner and says, it's all right, everything's going to be fine, thinking that what he's doing is finally saving the child that he failed to save in the first reel of the film.
Come on.
Darlings.
Yes. Which I think is just selling it completely wrong. It's not a film about a killer dwarf at all.
No, it's not.
I bet you were very confused.
Where's the dwarf?
Yeah, where's the dwarf? Where's the dwarf? That's what people did in the cinemas. Where's the dwarf? And yes.
A big cheer at the reveal.
Way! And she goes, no. And you go, woo! No, that's not what the film is about. And then the restaurant, the meeting of the blind, not the blind sisters, the blind woman and her sister.
Yes.
And just that haunting, and the mirrors, and Julie, who looks just incredible in this film. It's weird. My granddad has dementia, and a fun way to start any sentence. And so obviously, he never spoke to me about his big crushes. And then it's only in later life that I talk about how much I love Don't Look Now to my mum or Dr. Zhivago, and she goes, "Oh, you're just like your granddad. He loved Julie Christie too." And then I love the film The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, which we talked about in the La La Land episode. And she goes, "Oh, you're just like your granddad. He loved Catherine Deneuve." So it's odd how it continues. But yes, no, Julie Christie is just sensational in this film, which we'll get to in Oscar Travesty. Yes, the restaurant, and then her phone. Now, our 3 solid nominations. Let's do the opening first. This was, for my A-level film studies, Will, this was the 5-minute scene, which I did a paper on.
Oh, is it?
I couldn't find the paper because
you got to choose.
Yes, it was. Yes, you had to choose a 5-minute scene. And I was going to do this or the restaurant scene in Godfather. And my teacher, Toby, said, "I've read a lot of papers on Godfather. I've never read a paper on Don't Look Now. I think that'd be," because he also shared in the love of the 1973 horror trilogy of The Wicker Man and Exorcist and Don't Look Now. To the extent that I believe him and his sister Miranda used to throw Wicker Man parties. And I remember the exact thought I had to myself.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah. I don't think it was just them two. I think they invited other people. But I remember the exact thought going, why doesn't my sister like the Wicker Man? But alas. Yes, the opening is absolutely horrifying.
There's nothing but children out there.
The nearest hospital.
I'm fine. I've been playing with them all afternoon.
Talk to the doctor. He said
John, Christine is still with us.
Christine is dead, Laura. Christine is dead.
Of course. I know, but you know the 2 ladies in the restaurant? Well, they were watching us while we were eating. They kept staring. They told me this because they could see sitting between us. They could see Christine sitting between us.
That slow motion, and it distorts his voice. This was another part where my ex laughed, and I thought the woman was a monster because the slow motion drags out his scream.
Yeah, it's like,
and it's and I mean, could be funny, I guess, in a different context. Not when a man is carrying his dead child, waterlogged child. Did you know about the death? There you go. Did you know about Christine dying?
I did.
Oh,
I did. Yes, because I think you spoilt that a
Did
few
I?
episodes ago. Yeah,
Oh.
and it's also in a lot of the promotional pictures.
Yeah, and I
That
get
shot.
it's the opening scene. I guess.
Yeah.
It's a great shot.
It is.
What a horrifying, the sliding on the mud, the brutality, the grit of it, and then just that hard cut. I'm stepping on a few of my specific favourite parts here, but the slow-mo carry is a specific favourite part, and the hard cut to the drill from Julie Christie's scream to the drill in Venice. And I also love that we don't have Venice 5 months later. I can't be doing with it. Yeah. You can tell completely that they're in Venice and that time has passed. You can take the wild assumption that he didn't get on the plane to Venice the day after his daughter died. And you know what's also great for some of that? I'm not a big fan of title cards. I never have. Well, no.
You use title cards
all the time.
Every single thing you do.
I know. I don't mean title cards. I love title cards. My favourite title card is in Boogie Nights, where they've got half an hour left and the title card just comes up, one last thing. Long Way Down. Just a great title card. I also love in Magnolia the title card. And then shit. And so what? And so this. I'll tell you in a moment. But I don't like you know what I really don't like? When it cuts to a shot of Paris and the Eiffel Tower and it comes up with Paris, as if they think we're stupid. I know where the Eiffel Tower is. I know that they're not in Vegas. Very much annoys me. I guess I'm probably alone in this weird, very specific. So now then, there you go. I'm probably alone in this very specific hatred, but that's just me. And then the end. Oh my God! Just
Wait.
That's the thing. That's the reason why it's up there in my 10-minute stretch. Like the end parade, because the way that they interweave the credits with it, and it's just the procession. The people are just walking in, and the credits are just rolling up, and as if this is just a normal thing.
This is it. This is his life. Also. I don't think you could ever guess that it was a killer dwarf.
Oh, no.
That's why it's such a good reveal, because you do think, you do think, I'm saying all this, but it was ruined for me too. You know, it is a very famous movie ending, unfortunately. Deservedly so, but unfortunately so, that it has led to, it being quite ruined for people. But you would never guess that it was a killer dwarf. You'd think, oh my God, it's Christine. It's Christine, or at least it's a ghost of Christine, or something, or he's seeing it, he's imagining it. You would never think that it's a serial killer dwarf in a little red coat. the ending, the ending of the book, sort of as horrifying as the ending of this film is, the ending of the short story, sort of Daphne Du Maurier clearly thinks it's quite a funny idea for a twist, because she ends it with, and he thought, oh, what a bloody silly way to die. And I guess it is a silly way to die, and I guess you could see it as comedic, as certain people do. But yes, painful stuff. Any thoughts on the ending?
I like the montage you get of his life flashing before him. That's very good.
The entire film is wonderfully edited.
There's a lot of jump cuts which I love, which link to each other. It is.
People have often said it's like a puzzle, and then when you finally get that montage, in the corner with the, and when he gets killed, it suddenly all comes together, and it's painfully too late. Wonderful stuff. My favourite 10-minute stretch is the sex scene.
You froze for a bit there for me.
Oh, were you saying anything?
I wasn't, but you were.
Well, there we go. I'm fine. Because the people just see me. I know.
Oh, okay.
No, they don't just see me. The sex scene. It's my favorite. It's my favorite 10-minute stretch. I think it's the most beautiful love scene put to a film. Sure, I love Basic Instinct. I love the ridiculousness of the quote unquote fuck of the century scene, as Michael Douglas calls it in Basic Instinct. And I love Risky Business. I love the wind sweeping in. Top Gun is a bit more placid, but this is one of the most beautiful scenes ever put to film. And I'm not even being facetious. I genuinely do think it is one of the most beautiful, most human, most realistic. I don't know how to phrase this, but I have had sex in my life. Yes. Yeah. And when I first watched this film, I hadn't. And so I never took real... It's an odd thing to say, but it's a very realistic love scene. And it's messy. Because, like the bit where she kisses his shoulder. And it's like that... You could look at that and say, what's she doing kissing her shoulder? But then you step back and you go, no, there are moments where just random little moments where you trying to clamber and move about, and I think it emphasizes that beautifully. And I think it's also, you've got at the back of your head, you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is probably the first time they've had sex since Christine's died, and that adds just a whole new dimension to it. And obviously the insanely brilliant cutting from the heat of that to afterward, and them getting dressed. And I've been a Donald Sutherland. I've sat with a nice drink, fully dressed on the bed, as my Julie Christie of the time was still getting dressed, and it's a lovely, beautiful scene. Any thoughts on the sex scene, Will?
It's very, very good.
You pervert! But payoff, setup. It's called a joke. It's a great joke. Yes, and also the realism bleeds into them just walking around naked. I love when she's just in the bath and he's just brushing his teeth but naked, and because those sort of things do happen, like when you're in a committed relationship. Or am I on my own?
I mean, well, no, it's an ensuite. I wouldn't walk up the stairs, go into the bathroom, brush my teeth, do all of that naked. If I had an ensuite, I would.
Yeah, like a hotel, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but no, I wouldn't do it in a house of 4 people.
Well, no, not a house of four people. A house of you and your lover. I'm not saying in your bloody uni accommodation where you're cock hanging out, when you're going down to make breakfast with Alice. from Paddington 2. Might give her a fright. No, just those, those days in bed, shall we say. And then obviously that leads into when he's naked and he's just doing his drawings, and Julie Christie lets the maid in. Lovely. Any other nominations or thoughts on 10 Minute Stretch, Will?
No.
No. Firm man. Tom's specific favourite parts. I love the first homicide. I love the driving past. And there is a wonderfully subtle misdirection, red herring of making John could John be the serial killer? Where she goes, wasn't that where you... No.
Yeah.
Lovely. Because, in the context of regular conversation, that sort of stuff happens all the time. But whereas in the context of a murder horror film, suddenly that line adds a great weight. And I think it is more than a cheap red herring, because it is that one thing.
I've got that as well. I love how all the police officers from the balcony are just following him on the boat. That shot, it's creepy.
Wonderful. I love that she's packed the ball. I love that little tiny moment where she's packed the ball, and you go, oh, because there's no big scene. I mean, we do get the big argument scene. She's dead, but you don't get the big scene of, oh, well, I still pet the ball. I still believe I can't let go. You just have a single shot of her smiling at a packed ball. It's lovely. Second murder, open bracket, scream, first dwarf. There you go. I love that part. Scuttles along. Argument after the seance, incredible. Specifically the line, Christine's dead. She doesn't come with messages from the fucking grave. It's brilliant delivery from Donald there. I love Laura hiding her pill. That's another little throwaway red herring thing. It's not a huge plot point about a pill. Clearly, there's some sort of antidepressant or something, or maybe a contraceptive. You could look at it that way, as we'll get into in Tom's big question. I love the single frame of John falling when he has another premonition, and there's just. This film is just ingenious. I adore it. I love the baby toy that's just by the river. And I love Laura in London, the reveal of, I'm here, darling. I'm here in London.
She's actually there.
Yeah. He goes, oh, I thought you were in a gondola. No, darling, I'm here. I'm here, darling. I've always found this weird. After I bought the Blu-ray, I always thought that those two, the school mistress and the schoolmaster, were going to be the lead characters. Because they've got a little picture on the back of the DVD.
Have they?
And there's only like 3. And so I thought, oh, they must be the second leads. Will's more general favourite part of the film.
I love it when he's panicking because he's late and he don't know where his wife is, and he's in front of the mirror, and then when he runs onto the boat, then he sees her. But that bit where he's in front of the mirror and he grabs the toothpaste and he squeezes it too hard and the toothpaste shoots out. I like that.
Little touches. It's just it's wonderful.
I love the blood on the real wall, linking back to the photo at the beginning. That's a nice.
Oh shit! And drops the blood. Yeah, wonderful stuff.
That's what I've got on me.
And you're spent. Well then, let's have a look at Oscar travesty, which we looked at for The Exorcist, but I think the big omissions here are editing. I mean, it'd help if the thing loaded, of course. Best film editing, absolutely nothing. I've not seen Jonathan Livingston Seagull, but I've also never heard of Jonathan Livingston Seagull. I have seen Don't Look Now. And I know that it's one of the best edited films of all time. If we're just cutting the bullshit. And then for me, it's the performance category. I mean, nothing for Julie, nothing for Donald. It's a real travesty there for me personally.
But who are you gonna kick off for best actor there?
Oh, that's it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bump Jack Lemmon and give him the Oscar for The Apartment. Wait, did he win for The Apartment? Who won in 1960? Because The Apartment won Best Picture. Who knows? Yeah, right. He won, nominated 8 times. The Awards, Academy Awards, but nominated for Best Actor. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna give it to Jack Lemmon for The Apartment in 1960. And I'm going to put in Donald, and I'm going to make. I'm going to make Brando. I'm going to give it to Donald Sutherland for Don't Look Now.
Are you going to give him Best Actor?
I think Robert Redford is wonderful in The Sting. I think he's better in All the President's Men and Butch Cassidy. I think Al Pacino is wonderful in Serpico. I think he's better in The Godfather. I think Jack Nicholson is wonderful in The Last Detail. I think he's better in abundance of films. I think Marlon Brando is haunting and brilliant in Last Tango in Paris, ignoring the Me Too elements of behind the scenes of it. But I think he's better in Streetcar or Godfather. I think Jack Lemmon is wonderful in Save the Tiger. I think he's better in The Apartment. I think Donald Sutherland is wonderful in Don't Look Now. I think he's never been better than in Don't Look Now. I very much enjoy Ordinary People. I very much enjoy Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the remake with him. I think Don't Look Now is his peak. Julie. Oh, Julie. Is Julie Christie in this better than Ellen Burstyn in The Exorcist?
No.
Yeah. Oh, poor Julie. We'll give her something. We'll give her something eventually. Probably Dr. Zhivago. I do love the go-between though. What we're learning here is that Julie Christie's bloody wonderful. World's favourite building or set? You've got all of Venice.
I know this is a very exciting one.
You like Venice, architecturally speaking, well?
I do, and it gives me a chance to talk about a very, very good book that I enjoy a lot, The Stones of Venice, by John Ruskin, who was an art critic linked with the Royal Institute of British Architects, and he spent a lot of time in Venice just drawing the buildings, loads of nice little watercolour stuff. He was fascinated by it all, and it inspired a Landscape Artist of the Year final commission. But that book is beautiful, his drawings, and in particular, it's the Palazzo Ducale, or the Doge's Palace.
And what's that in the film?
It's kind of the one coming into Venice, that big corner one with all of the tiny archways and the big tower.
Okay. What's your favourite one in the film that gets featured in the film? Because as much as I say you've got all of Venice, be specific. You could say that your favourite set in, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, but I can't.
Just fell flat.
Yeah, you could say that your favourite set in Annie Hall is the Empire State Building, but it's not actually in it. I mean, it's not the cathedral because it's shite. Oh,
He does a bad job. He never finishes it.
this is true, yeah.
Bad reality. And it's left to rot and sink into the ground.
Yeah, do they get somebody else to fill in?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, we could have also had this discussion in Casino Royale.
I think we did. I think we touched... What won in Casino Royale? I think you went for the casino, where not the casino, the hotel where the poker game
The hotel was good, yeah. And also his sort of not retirement, but the recovery centre.
Yes.
That was good.
Where poor
my favourite building
gets
in Don't Look Now is Daniel Craig's recovery centre. There we are.
Best single minute. I've got, as I've said, the gondola vision, the final gondola, and then for me, it's a toss-up between those two. Do you have any other nominations?
I've put the restaurant into my single minute.
Oh,
it's a good minute. I like. It's one of my nominations. I like the.
She's happy.
And they're both sat at a table behind her, and she's
yeah. Don't Look Now.
I've also got the final. The stabbing and the flashbacks. When the reveal of the dwarf. And I've got the pretend funeral gondola, the vision.
Oh, poor John. Best line. Here's a few. Oh, I hate it when it does this. This one who's blind, she's the one that can see. Do you not like that one, Will?
No.
Christina's dead. She is dead, 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 dead. A harsher one, but a good line all the same. The skill of police artists is to make the living appear dead. Do we like Inspector Longy in this film? I think he's quite bad. I think he's one of my We're in. Oh, do you have any other lines?
I like your bishop makes me feel strange. I imagine he makes God feel less than immaculate. I like that one.
It's a good line. But yeah, what's the change? Get a better actor than Inspector Longy.
Oh, he's bad.
Really quite bad in this movie.
What's that line? What's the one? What are you scared of most? What's that one? When he's sat there and he's interviewing him about the murder. Yeah. Oh, he's bad. He's a bad man.
Other changes. I know I was glamorizing the naked walking about. I'm not glamorizing John getting out of the bath and stepping on his clothes. A, why are the clothes strewn on the floor when you're in a bath scenario? B, what madman, sopping wet, steps on all of his clothes?
Funny you say that. They can act as like a dry surface to perchance step onto.
You use your own clothes instead of a towel?
Oh no, we have bath mats. I use t-shirts to dry my body after it.
Really?
Sometimes. No, like pajamas, because I wear pajamas to bed. My pajamas will be on the floor and they'll dry by the time you wear them again. So you might as well step on them.
No, you might as well use a fucking towel. What are you using your pajamas? Oh, William, you're disappointed in you. I don't like Inspector Longy seeing the sisters because nothing comes of it. He sees the sisters out of his window, and you expect him to go, "Is that them?" They don't. They just walk away. Doesn't make any sense. Any other changes, Will?
We've talked a lot about the great editing, but there's a moment of bad editing that I picked up on. Just as she's drowning, and we slowly zoom into the water, that harsh cut to the fireplace. Don't like that. I think it's not a good cut. And I've written down Krampus. That opening scene is very reminiscent of Devil of Christmas.
Oh, I thought you meant the movie Krampus.
No, which I've heard a lot
I
of good
very
things
much
about.
enjoy. I really
Yeah.
enjoy Krampus. That I was meant to watch Spectre, but I got completely the wrong time, and so instead of sitting in an empty cinema for an hour, I watched Krampus, and I very much enjoyed myself. I thought that it was okay mostly, and then I rewatched it, and I thought, oh no, this is really good. I very much enjoy this. And you know what's great about it? Practical effects. Well,
yes,
we keep talking.
I've read a lot about practical effects in Krampus.
Krampus.
It's nice to watch it.
Krampus.
I've
This the
written-
Krampus with the sticks in the boot.
He wanted this film to be subtle in its portrayal of what was going on and to be visually connective from the beginning to the end, so that things that you would not ordinarily pay attention to sometimes, or sometimes not, prove to be significant later on. For instance, there are many times in the movie where you see the funeral barge. The camera just pans across it, or it goes through the foreground, or it goes through the background. Because you don't know where the movie's going, you may not pay attention to that. So things of that nature are very important in this movie when you see it the second time. And this is one of those movies, I believe, that does warrant a second viewing.
The flip side of that, in terms of setting things up, is misdirection and things that you think might mean something and don't end up meaning anything.
Yeah, I like that.
And did he talk to you about that, or was that?
I can't remember. I don't think specifically, no.
Yeah.
I mean, but I love to lead people off on little sidetracks and that don't lead anywhere, particularly in a movie like this, which has so much connective tissue and so many things that you can, it's like, I like life. I like real life. I like when he's sitting in the restaurant early on in the movie and he sees a blind lady and her sister, he focuses on the brooch. And that shape and that brooch itself does appear later. But at the time, it's meaningless. And many times you do that in real life and it doesn't mean anything.
Bad Child. Again.
Which one? Christine or?
Christine, the guy where he's like trying to resuscitate her, and he's just there like, what a, yeah. Both children are bad,
and they look terrifying.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland is a very handsome man. Julie Christie is maybe one of the most beautiful women ever. They would birth better children than those two Village of the Damned monstrosities.
And then Christie, when he's like, when he gets her onto like the muddy bank. And he's trying to resuscitate her, and he's moving her about. She starts moving her arms and legs about.
I've never noticed this.
He grabs her, and then she like moves her arm over, and you're dead.
You're dead. Get dead.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't like it.
Thanks for ruining that wonderful movie moment for me, Will. I'll never not see that. Any other changes?
They're the ones that grinded my gears.
Well, we'll stick with you. What's left from your notes?
The restaurant faint is very well done.
It is.
I've written.
I love that little close up of all the oils and in the tiles. I always get, oh no.
And then the I like it again when it comes back in when he gets stabbed, and you've got the montage of him falling from the scaffold and the faint next to each other as sort of parallel. I like that.
It's astoundingly good.
I like that a lot.
It's just incredible. Anything else from your notes?
That's it from my notes.
Did you notice this then? So on our Wickerman episode, we had a talk about the acceptance of death scenes, and then I said, you look at the Wicker Man, don't. And then I remembered that I thought that you hadn't seen the film. I didn't know you knew about the dwarf. So I went, don't ignore Speed, and then I had to talk about Jeff Daniels' death in Speed for a good minute. Did you notice this?
I did. Did.
Damn it! I thought that had slipped you by. Well, is this the best Du Maurier adaptation? Your nominations are The Birds, Jamaica Inn, this, or Rebecca. Any adaptation of Rebecca?
I do like Rebecca.
Yeah. I don't know. I think for me it has to be this. I adore the 1940s film of Rebecca. I think my love of that film is more so general love of the novel, the 90s TV adaptation, the film. It all sort of blends. Whereas this is such a soul. And also, I think this is, if we're just looking at it as the actual question, Rebecca may be a better film. I think this is the best adaptation.
Yes.
Because that short story is it's not silly, but the ending, oh, what a bloody silly way to die. I mean, it's an interesting end, ha ha ha, but the ending of this is blood-curdling. And also, as we'll talk about on the Rebecca episode, the 1940 Rebecca, has to change a few things because it's the 1940s. So Maxim doesn't shoot Rebecca dead. She falls and hits her head, which just isn't as good. What's left from Tom's note? We're in the middle of it. I love the throwaway. Nothing is what it seems. It could be nothing is what it seems. Zoom in. It's not. It's just thrown away, and it is marvelous.
This is based on the book by Daphne Du Maurier, who also wrote Rebecca and The Birds, although Hitchcock's The Birds changed it completely, but it was still based on a short story by Daphne. This is a great film about, not Second Sight. Yeah, I guess Second Sight. There's literally weird sisters in it. It's brilliant. This is Julie Christie and Donald Sutherland's daughter back in England. Donald is an art historian who is the father of this girl who dies. And this is a picture really about premonition. It literally has the weird sisters in it. Donald goes to Venice, Italy, after this bit of foreshadowing here, to work on the restoration of a mural in an Italian church. And they take tremendous advantage of Venice. Like all truly beautiful places, it can be really creepy.
There is no alternate ending, but there are a few fun facts.
Yay.
When he appeared on Inside the Actors Studio, Donald Sutherland recounted the story of how the infamous sex scene was actually shot, and that it was anything but a sexy or erotic experience, because, after all, there was multiple rumours and myth throughout the years that they were having genuine sex. The scene was so realistic that lots of people, including Warren Beatty, Julie Christie's then, I can't remember whether they were married or whatever the state the relationship was, but he was a bit of a Rod Stewart and Brick Etland situation.
He's got a lot of things wrong as Warren, including the announcement of a certain Oscar winner.
No, I fully put that on Faye Dunaway. We had this on La La Land.
Yeah, we did.
He sees it and he's like, "This is wrong." Faye, take a look at this. She's like, "Oh, Warren, you codger, La La Land." Incredible. He and Julie Christie were on the set at 7 a.m. in dressing gowns, waiting downstairs while the room was prepared, and they both had a glass of champagne to calm their nerves at 7 a.m. Prosecco breakfast. The only people in the room were Nicolas Roeg and cinematographer Anthony B. Richards, as well as obviously Sutherland and Christie. The huge cameras were unsilenced, and as the room was oak panelled, the noise from the two cameras was amplified hugely. At the same time, Roeg began shouting directions over the noise of the cameras, such as "lick her nipples," "oh, put your hand between her legs," "get on top," etc. The shoot lasted until well into the afternoon before Roeg was satisfied and wrapped. It was the first day so that they could get it out of the way.
That's a good idea.
Shooting the drowning sequence was particularly problematic. Sharon Williams, who played Christine, became hysterical when submersed in the pond, despite the rehearsals at the swimming pool going very well. A farmer on the neighbouring land volunteered his daughter, who was an accomplished swimmer, but who refused to be submersed when it came to filming. In the end, this film was seen Jesus Christ, the scene was filmed rather in a water tank using 3 different girls. Do you know what Donald Sutherland's son is called?
Donald
Roeg, after Nicolas Roeg, one of his favourite.
Oh, there you go. After his favourite Mission Impossible movie.
Indeed. Filming the scene in which John almost falls to his death was also beset by problems and resulted in Donald Sutherland's life being put in danger. The scene entailed some of the scaffolding collapsing, leaving John dangling by a rope. The stuntman refused to perform the stunt because the insurance was not in order. Sutherland ended up doing it instead and was attached to a Kirby wire as a precaution in case he should fall, which is always a good idea. Sometime after the film had come out, renowned stunt coordinator Vic Armstrong commented to Sutherland that the wire was not designed for that purpose, and the twirling around caused by holding onto the rope would have damaged the wire to the extent it would have snapped if Sutherland had let go. So we very well could have lost Donald Sutherland in this film. The film was not received well by the Venetians, particularly the councillors, who were afraid it would scare away tourists.
Well, because they would thought there was a
killer dwarf, I'm presuming.
Killer dwarf on the list.
Daphne Du Maurier wrote a letter to Nicolas Roeg after seeing the film, congratulating him on making such a strong film from her story. Which is nice. Are you ready for this one, Will? The film's German title is Wenn die Gondeln tragen, which means when gondolas wear grief.
We have today and yesterday, and suddenly something happens that they hadn't planned on doing tomorrow. Twitch, and life changed completely. Filling in the today part, so have a look at them as they were happy family. Son and daughter and playing.
What about that almost childlike piano theme that Pino Donaggio wrote? Da, 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 da,
That's very
da.
funny, picking that up. He sat down, we were in the recording studio, and he couldn't play it like a child. I said, it's too good, Peter. Da, dee, da, 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 da.
Well, it's meant to sound like a child almost learning it, because you have the single descending note in the bass line, like dun, 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 like they're reading it off the music and they haven't seen it before, and that's what's so heartbreaking about it. It's the storytelling is done, at least 50% by what you're hearing on the soundtrack.
Bit of alliteration for you.
Oh yeah, when gondolas were grave. I've never understood why in translations they completely change. I guess I do understand. Anyway. Real life couple Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood were considered for the lead roles. Glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, that in a way would have been quite a strange movie, because the whole idea is it's meant to be foreshadowing his death and he's seeing visions of his death. But it would actually be the other way around. Her seeing Christine drown would be...
and then also it would play very well into film YouTube conspiracy theorists of like, only 10 years earlier, Natalie Wood appeared in a film primarily about drowning. I'd be reading that fun fact now. It'd be like, despite this film having a main scene involving a drowning, this is Tim Curry's favourite horror film.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
Who doesn't? In the original short story, Christine dies of meningitis and does not drown. Just an incredible choice made by Roeg and the screenwriter. Almost too obvious. Like a choice to... No, I'm saying it's a perfect choice. But also, so obvious. Yeah, no, definitely make her drown. The rest of it's in Venice.
I quite like it because it makes you think, okay, someone's going to drown in Venice.
And also, for me, I don't know if the dwarf thing pays off well enough if it's just meningitis, because you believe when he's looking at all the reflections that he could be insane. Whereas if she just had a meningitis, you're not going to die in your red Mac of meningitis. The lyrics from the big Audio Dynamite hit E = MC squared. Do you know this song well?
I do.
It's a good song. Reveal many moments of this film. The complete segment from the song describing the movie goes, met a dwarf that was no good, dressed like Little Red Riding Hood, bad habit of taking life, calling card a 6-inch knife, ran off really fast, mumbled something about the past, best sex I've ever seen, as if each moment was the last, drops of blood, colour slide, funeral for his bride, which is wrong. Oh, no, it's not wrong, because it could be seen as a funeral for his bride, but it's him who's really dead gets to take the funeral ride. Doo-doo.
That's probably one of, our greatest poet, the best poet of our generation.
E = MC Big Audio Dynamite.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I like that. That's a very fun fact.
It is fun.
Because that is a lot like the plot of this movie.
Yes. Ooh, yeah. Very faint. Tom's big question: is the ending silly? I don't think it is. I think it's terrifying. But I've come across this now multiple times.
It's if you were there, it wouldn't be silly.
You're damn right.
I think it's tainted by films such as Leprechaun and Trolls, stuff like that, which sort of makes it into you see a horror movie with a killer dwarf, okay, that sounds like a B movie, which are to be laughed at. I think that's why.
And also, I think
it
is that it is such a reveal, and that you could.
It's so out of the blue.
There are obviously allusions to it throughout the film to notice on a rewatch, but you're never going to guess it, and so it does sort of come out of the blue. So I can understand that.
Yeah.
Is Laura pregnant at the end of this? Is the circle now complete? Is she pregnant?
I think so. I think so. It would be nice, though.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe Donald is reborn into a child.
That'd be weird. Is the bishop a psychic too? Because he obviously wakes up in the middle of the night.
I think that's just bishops for you. No, well, they're spiritual, aren't they? That's
like, bishops for you.
It's probably just showing connections to faith, and rather than psychic, because they're like crazy old women, and he's just a bishop in touch with his spirituality.
Indeed. Synopsis of a sequel. I don't know if there's a sequel here. I'll have to leave that. Closing line, Hall of Fame. No! Painful. Will, what did you think of? Any final thoughts, rather, on Don't Look Now?
No, I'll tell you what I thought of this whole fortnight.
Oh, yeah. What did you think?
Yeah. What should we rank them? Shall we rank?
As of recording this, we have not. Will hasn't seen Theatre of Blood yet, but let's put that to a side since it's of a different piece entirely.
It's a silly one.
Of the three, let's call them the tragic drama horrors, I've got two categories: favorite performance and favorite film. So let's do favorite performance. What is your favorite performance of these three films?
Edward Woodward.
I was going to say Edward Woodward. If Linda Blair's exorcist demon voice is her, then I would say Linda Blair. I could say Linda Blair / Mercedes McCambridge, but I think you've got to go with Edward Woodward. You are woo-ah. What was your favourite film of these three? Well,
The Wicker Man.
I do love The Wicker Man. I don't know. I really am struggling.
For me, it's Wicker Man, Exorcist, Don't Look Now.
Oh God, this is hard. Oh. Exorcist. I think Exorcist, Don't Look Now, Wicker Man.
Oh.
Albeit, they are all 10 out of 10. These are three of my favourite horrors ever. I could, say, I love them all equally, but I'm gonna say it. Exorcist, Don't Look Now, Wicker Man. And then when I rewatch The Wicker Man, it'll go Wicker Man, Exorcist, Don't Look Now, and then whichever way. I think I'm gonna have to go with that.
Interesting.
And yeah, so we'll see what you think of. Well, the audience know now what you think of Theatre of Blood, but we don't know what you think of Theatre of Blood.
Oh, I don't know. That's strange. It's weird. Join us next year for another Halloween spectacular.
Yes, we're going. I think we've discussed it now. We sort of stepped into it unbeknownst to us. I just sort of said we were thinking of a horror category, and I said, well, why don't we just do the 4 from 1973? And I think the new theme is now every year we'll do a decade. We will eventually get round to picking up other 70s, and then maybe do a decade of moving backwards. But for now, I think we'll go with the 80s next.
I do like the 80s.
Who doesn't like the 80s? And we've got some great films coming up. It's wonderful stuff. Will, goodbye. Bye, Will. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So long.
Dabba 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 da da ba 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 ba.